love a city break, and we love Spain, but I don't think either of us were expecting just how much Malaga could blow everywhere else out of the water.
So, estamos en Málaga. We landed what time?
Desde 2 horas.
About 2 hours ago. We've gotten the bus into the centre, and now we're going to look for somewhere to eat and practice a bit of Spanish.
Vamos.
Un poco español.
Having been awake since 3 AM to catch our flight, and with hours until we could check in, food was essential. We wandered into the centre until we found a restaurant called Malavida and tucked into some open sandwiches, before doing what any self-respecting couple of British holidaymakers would do. We found a bar where we could have our first drinks of the trip. Sangria was, naturally, our first order, but it was soon supplemented by what the locals prefer to drink, a cheaper mix called Tinto de Verano, which became my drink of choice for the rest of the holiday. The less said about the Airbnb we picked, the better. It was perfectly centrally located and could have been amazing, but it was hard to get in, as well as pretty run down inside, and there were flies in the shower and toilet that we just couldn't seem to be rid of.
You know what they say? When in Rome, do as the Romans do. So we're in Spain and we start... We're in Spain and we're doing as the Spanish do. We've had a little siesta. Oh, and Jack's bought himself a Spain top for €3 million. So when the dogs don't eat next month, that's why.
We wandered back the way we'd come, towards the coastline. We'd intended on trying the food in Malaga's historic indoor market, but were too late by the time we got there. And with a packed Saturday planned and the market being closed on Sunday, we definitely made a fatal error. We stopped off at a bar with great cocktails and beautiful views over the water and the yachts of the super rich. But Jack had one thing on his mind: football. It was the evening of the Spain-Belgium match in the Football World Cup. We found a pretty decent bar with space to sit and soaked up the atmosphere of a Spanish win.
Early day 2 vlog. We're off to the Picasso Museum.
Castle Museum, and what's the place you go to?
The Alibaba.
Oh,
The Rock the Casbah.
Alcazaba.
The Alcazaba. But first we're going to try and find some breakfast, and it's only like 9:30, and most places that are normal in Spain won't even open till 11.
We walked the streets of Malaga until we found Cañas y Tapas, a small restaurant offering pretty good prices on breakfast, and indulged in some churros con chocolate. I also had a chance to practice a bit of my Spanish.
Y para mí, churros con chocolate, un café largo.
¿Negro o como,
Negro.
como americano?
Sí. Y zumo de naranja.
Ok, serían 2 churros, un espresso, un americano y 2 nachos.
Sí.
Despite the general prices of restaurants being pretty fantastic out in Spain, Jack was horrified at the price of olive oil in a couple of the shops we passed. He makes a point of buying some every time we go to Spain, but not this time around. Next up was a tour of the Alcazaba and Roman theatre. The Alcazaba is a fortress built during the period of Muslim rule in Andalusia, and is well worth a visit. Our guide Danny was really knowledgeable and kept the whole tour entertaining despite the many steps. The architecture is beautiful, and the history of the place is incredible.
During the reconstruction, we could find designs, plans.
At the peak of the fortress is the Nasrid Palace, where the rulers of the area would once have lived. From the top of the long climb through the Alcazaba, you can see the best views of Malaga, both over the city and over the sea. Once our tour was finished, and we had wandered the Alcazaba for a little while longer, we headed for the Picasso Museum. Picasso was born in Malaga, and the museum in Malaga opened in 2003 with the donation of almost 300 works from the Picasso family. We challenged ourselves to do as much reading as possible in Spanish before reading the English captions. Downstairs was some more modern art by Joana Vasconcelos, which I particularly enjoyed. At lunchtime, we headed for a restaurant called El Pimpi. It had been heavily recommended online, and Jack successfully asked and got directions for how to sit outside in Spanish. The food was great, as was the atmosphere. Lots of people were taking part in sobremesa, a Spanish term for when you camp out at the table once the bulkier meal is finished, and continue to talk and order more drinks, smoke, or finish with a coffee. After our daily siesta, we found a small rooftop bar nearby to our Airbnb and played Yahtzee to determine who would pay. I lost enough rounds in a row to guarantee I'd be the one on the hook for most of the night's drinks, and it was gonna be a late one. As evening set in, we found a bar to watch the rugby on Jack's phone and prepare for the football. This time, England versus Norway. With the bar so full, we had a rotating stream of people using our spare seats to sit and chat, and we were happy to oblige. Some England fans took offence to us supporting Norway, but we had great conversations with others. Being abroad leads to so many great conversations that we wouldn't otherwise have had at home. We headed back to our bed after a long and tiring day, but we were totally fulfilled.
To my one daily allowed vlog to camera per day that Jack will permit. It is 9:26 AM and we are off to Malaga beach. We'll stop for breakfast first and sun cream because I've run out, so I'm going to have one red egg.
Vamos a ir a la playa.
Vamos ir a la playa. Ir a la playa? No, ir a la playa, because yes.
It's exactly what you said.
We both do love a city break, but Malaga has something that other popular cities like Berlin and Amsterdam certainly don't have: a proper beach. After a couple of days of non-stop action, it was nice to put our feet up and enjoy a few hours of doing very little, though the constant stream of people selling drinks and massages was a little annoying. Being the ADHD gremlin that I am, it wasn't long before I was in the sea with the camera, messing around and chasing the few fish I saw.
Off out, looking fire, looking slay. For our last evening, I've insisted on us going to the video game museum, and then we're off for a night of flamenco and paella. Sí. That's all the Spanish.
Yeah.
We spent months learning Spanish, and C is about as far as we go. Sí.
I've been down to sea all day.
We got cleaned up and headed out for our last evening in Malaga. Our first stop was the Museo de Videojuegos, or the Video Game Museum. This was heaven for me, and I was surprised at how little it was mentioned in a lot of the guides I've seen. It was 3 floors of video game history from the very earliest days up to the present. Almost every console on display was playable, and the upper floors has some real fun conceptual games. I'd recommend it any day. The top floor of the museum housed another rooftop terrace where they served great drinks, but we didn't have long before we had to head to our last activity. After 3 days of constant Spanish, both of us were really pleased that we could hold a conversation in the language with the waitresses at the paella restaurant we visited, and could understand their more complex instructions on show start time and location. The seafood paella was delicious, as were the drinks, and then we headed inside for an hour of flamenco. The band and the dancers were really talented, and I'd totally recommend the whole experience to anyone, though it was one of the more expensive ends of our trip.
That's us all done.
Sí.
3 days in Malaga.
Well, that was the west of Castle.
Sí.
Pero, claro que es ver y caras.
Yeah. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm too tired for that. What I'm trying to say. Yeah, fabulous 3 days. Over and out. Vamos.
We knew we'd enjoy Malaga. We enjoy a lot of aspects of Spanish culture. The food, the nightlife, sobremesa, and we've been putting in the effort to learn the language. But I don't think either of us were expecting just how much we would fall in love with the city and its people, and just how much 3 days would feel like not enough time. We'll be revisiting Spain soon, and may even put down some roots there. So if you'd like to follow along with our journey, a like and subscribe will really help us to fly.